Hello and welcome back to RageGamingVideos, and of course more Elden Ring and a new build video at that. And I imagine looking at me, and also I guess if you cheated with the title and thumbnail, you're realizing this is a beast build, a Beastclaw build. We're running the Beastclaw Greathammer, we're running the unpronounceable dagger name Sling with your Beastial incants using the claw mark seal. In patch 1.07 we have had buffs to say the Regal Beastclaw, which has been made faster in the past but now hits harder with a much important attack power buff. Also, as a Warhammer of this type, it's had attack speed improvements as well as recovery, meaning it actually combos really well into Beastial incants, such as the Grang's Beastclaw, which has been buffed this patch as well, adding a hit to the start of the cast, as well as the incredible Stone of Garang this patch, which has had major stamina reduction, so you can absolutely spam it. It's an amazing option for staggering enemies at range, it's better versus guarding targets, and it's even got a bigger impact area. I love throwing these stones now, it's fantastic. Even with, say, the other thing we're running, Beastial Sling, that shotgun of sort of rock pellets. Yes, it's been nerfed. There's less randomness on the scatter. The detection is a lot more consistent close range now, a lot less medium range. But also in our current patch of 1.08, they nerfed its poise again, back to back. The thing is, it's still really good at chipping people out in PvP. Still great for interrupting casts and incantations. It's always clutch and handy when you're dealing with someone who's low health and just needs a hit or two to finish them. Also, I've got the dagger, as we've just talked about, which looks incredible with this build, I swear, and leads into the very fun option of course, doing many very quick attacks, which works great in PvP. The thing is, it also raises the potency of Beastial incantations, which is very useful here. Plus, if you didn't know, Flame Grant Me Strength improves your physical damage, which actually improves your Beastial incantations as well for some great synergy. But let's talk about the build in action, starting with PvP. Let's start with the Warhammer, the Beastclaw itself. And Warhammers were buffed in a previous patch to have that better attack speed and also in general better recovery, which has made for a much more enjoyable playstyle with these weapons, but their output still remains low. As they aren't, say, a colossal weapon, they don't hit quite as hard. However, they make up for it in the fact that they're much faster and the recovery is much better. So that combos super well into, say, your incantations, or you're now very heavy hitting Ash of War. The Ash itself lands super hard and works best in trade. I'm seeing over 1000 damage consistently when I land that, even against foes with high resilience. The basic hits in one hand are still nice though, about 400 to 500 per hit with a surprisingly quick hammer style moveset. I find myself using one hand more than I use two hand though, so that I can quickly combo into my incantations, as I said. Further tricking people though comes the dagger, which improves the Beastial incants by 15% like the seal, but more than anything, the use of a dagger is wonderful in any PvP situation. It massively changes up the pace of your attacks and of course your combos, and people aren't generally expecting your attacks to suddenly change in such a dramatic way. And you can combo so many slashes with a dagger that you can actually get quite a lot of health out of people doing just that, especially when they're low and they're panicking and it only takes another hit to finish them. That's why I really like daggers in a build that has a slower moveset or cadence to it. So I always like builds that can use something like that, and this dagger works great because of its benefits. Now, a lot of the build does come down to your incantations in PvP though. We have the Garang's Beastclaw, we have the Rock Stone Throw of Garang, and the Beastial Sling, obviously. Now, the AoE Beastclaw has impressive range to it, and people seem to never know what's coming when you do the animation because it's so rarely seen. It's just a huge AoE around yourself, and while you see those lines going out, I swear the hitbox of it is way bigger than that. Obviously, it's been buffed to have an attack bit of damage at the beginning of the animation, making it obviously better to use. But I think the fact that it's so rarely seen is a genuine note of approval from me. They don't know what's coming, they don't know the pace of the attack, and so you can throw it out even at the beginning of a fight consistently, and then straight up combo it into, say, a rock throw or rock throw spam. The damage it does is not massive, say around 500, but since it seems to consistently catch people out because they don't know what's coming, I like it. Although I like the rock throw way more. It is fantastic. In this patch, match, because the lower stamina cost and the higher size of impact, you can reliably now spam this thing, just throwing rock after rock after rock, watching them struggle. A clean hit of another 500 every time you do, and because it's got much more poise damage on it, you're much more likely to stagger someone, so it's actually not bad in trade either. When someone runs up to me and I land the rock on them, I get that nice bit of damage, they stagger, and I follow up with a hammer hit, and that always seems to land because of the length of the stagger. Then I could say swap to the dagger and combo into that, and it really catches people out if they're foolish enough to try trade with it. Beastial Sling, as always, despite the nerfs, is still wonderful. It doesn't hit hard, about 100 to 200 each hit, but because you're able to spam it like a shotgun, as always, whether you're jumping, running, or standing, it still has more range than people seem to give it the respect it deserves. You can still interrupt people despite the lower poise, especially if they're wearing medium to low poise gear. It's not blindly overpowered as it used to be because it had too much range really, but it is still very good and works great in combination with rock throws, where at range they're dealing with this constant slow throw spam. Then you swap it to the sling, start throwing that out, chipping away at their health suddenly. And I find that this build is just genuinely incredible against opponents with low poise. Any caster or anyone wearing cloth or lower weight armor, you can stagger them with every attack really well. And of course, it'll also hit harder because they're wearing less armor. The combo style is the best part for me though. One incantation smoothly transitioning into every other, into weapon attacks with that low recovery time of the hammer, into an ash and then more incantations. It's very fun to play. But the big question is, how does it perform in PvE, where all of this shenanigans with swapping weapons and comboing doesn't really matter as much? Well, I'm happy to say that because of the buff in 1.07 to the Ash of War of the Hammer, we hit like a truck. If you just blindly spam the Ash of War like many builds over and over, you're going to see about 2,000 to 3,000 to hit, and then you can spam it into another, making for very powerful, consistent output. On the other hand, the incantations fulfill kind of nice utility. The Beastial Sling is perfect to finish off a low boss or enemy, even at reasonable range. While say the big stone throw, that's wonderful in open world content, or when you're looking to break poise, even in a boss fight. You can throw those rocks at surprising range. The AoE Beastclaw is a lot less relevant in PvE boss fights though, since this is a wide range AoE. It's much more relevant in say open world against a group of enemies, or if you're in a boss fight where there's many little targets, like the Beastmen. Mostly though, it's not a great single target option, it's not what it's for. The dagger, on the other hand, while not massively relevant in PvE, still works great to finish off a weak boss or lower health enemies in the open world, especially those with low posture, where you can just go ham on them. Having that option, and because it weighs very little, is always very nice. And while it's not relevant most of the time, it is at periods, and that's where it's really good. Overall though, the basic hammer attacks are going to be working best in your shorter punish windows, where say a longer Ash of War cast is just too long to get off. I find myself just throwing the stones at range, and then once the boss gets near me, it's Ash of War time, and it's a hammer attack whenever I can't get an Ash of War off. The rest is flair and flavor, but it's a bit more single-minded this build in PvE, which to be fair, what build isn't? Alright, so let's talk about the build, and obviously it's very cool fashion. I think this is a really cool set that matches the style of this playstyle, but it's not that important what you're wearing. What you're wearing ultimately needs to be giving you good posture. I'm just wearing this for fashion. What matters is of course the Beastclaw, Greathammer itself, and of course however the hell you pronounce this dagger name. But most importantly, the Clawmark seal at the plus 25. A seal with beautiful strength scaling as well as faith, but obviously boosts your bestial incantations. The reason that we're running the dagger, as we've talked about, is its passive benefit, raising the potency of bestial incantations, but by the same amount that you would see with the seal. So the idea is more of a swap to it and use it where relevant, as we've talked about in PvP and PvE. Also, I think it looks really cool and matches the armor set and everything really well. For talismans, we have the Shard of Alexander, obviously the Flux Canvas talisman to improve the potency of the incantations further. Some have charging, so Godfrey's Icon, and a filler slot is for Erdtree's favorite in this case, for the benefits that it provides. Wondrous Physic isn't that relevant to the build, I just have some useful ones. You could go for say more poise, or enhance the power of a fully charged heavy attack, but it's certainly less important than the rest. For stats, we try to maximize the attribute points as best as possible. 60 vigor and 20 mind is kind of required because you want the health obviously, and the FP kind of works in 20s. So at 20 mind, we have 120 FP working out great. For the heavy armor that I'm wearing, I need 24 endurance with the talisman that increases my weight capacity slightly. And along with the 25 faith required for the Golden Vow buff, it means we're not able to reach the 80 strength that I would rather have because I am regularly one-handing the weapon. So altering the stats how you feel necessary could get you to 80 strength, potentially lowering yourself to say 51 vigor. Of course, our incantations are Golden Vow and Flame Grant Me Strength, really important because they're improving our physical damage, such as Flame Grant Me Strength, which is of course raising the power of not just our AR, which is nearly 1,000 on a Warhammer like this, which is great, but obviously the physical damage of our various incantations, which are of course Garang's Beastclaw, the AoE option. We have the Stone of Garang, which of course we can spam multiple times, and lastly the Beastial Sling, which is great as the shotgun, finisher, or interrupter. But there you have it, our complete beast build for patch 1.07. If you have any suggestions for the build, then let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy these build videos, then also drop a like on the video, it really helps. If you have any other suggestions for builds, then further let us know. But for now, thank you as always for watching these videos and supporting the Elden Ring content. But otherwise, I've been Hollow, you've been you, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.